Today I'm going to show you how to make these little Halloween lollipop costumes. I do apologize, for some reason we're like overrun with fruit flies around here this year. And there's really no reason for one to be in here, but there was one or two in here and they kind of floated all through my video. But I decided Halloween is so close, I'm not going to do it over. So if you have like some kind of aversion to a flying insect or something, please turn this off now and don't watch. But if you are okay with a flying gnat or fruit fly or two, continue watching and we will make these little lollipop costumes. For our lollipop costumes today, we're going to need some fabric paint. I have black, white, and silver, and that's because I picked these up at Michael's and they were in a package together, so I just grabbed that. We need some felt. I have black, white, and orange. Scissors, a smaller pair if you have them. You need paper and pen, and then some kind of lightweight cardboard, like a cereal box. I have fruit roll-ups that I used. I have a wire cutter, plier combination. Doesn't have to be that, just something to cut these twigs with. I picked these twigs up outside. They were laying on the ground. I have a glue gun and some little lollipops, whatever lollipop you want. And I'm going to make one of mine into a pin, so I just have a little pin back so that it's more than just a lollipop cover. And then I have a magnet. This is the package of magnets. And I decided I was going to turn this into like a centerpiece for like a candy table, maybe like a tablescape. So I got a bunch of stuff from the Dollar Tree. I don't know how we're going to do this or what we're going to do, but we're going to figure that out. And I have 3 of these skulls and just a mixture of different things. And you can use different types of embellishments on your little pumpkins and ghosts. Of course, you don't have to make pumpkins and ghosts. You can make something else. So I started out with a piece of paper and I just drew out the shapes that I wanted. Yes, I know my pumpkin looks like an apple. There's me trying to figure out the face. Trust me, I have no artistic ability. This is what I went through to get these simple shapes. So once you have your shape cut out, go ahead and trace it onto your light cardboard so that we can use it to trace around. Now, when you are tracing, you want to trace your pattern with the pen is fine. But then, when you trace the back of it, flip it over and then trace it. That way, when you cut these out, the ink line won't be as noticeable if you didn't quite cut all of the ink line off. So you do that, cut them out, and then we put on our face. So I've done 2 pumpkins ahead of time. No, I've done 2 ghosts ahead of time. And I just turned it over to the side that wasn't going to show, and I drew a little something and then followed it as best I could. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is meant to be fun. Same with that one. So for you to see the process on this pumpkin, I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to draw some kind of a face. Make it simple since I don't draw well and I'm trying to do this on camera. But we're going to cut this out. Now, if you can use the fabric paint to make the faces on these things and it look good, then by all means do that. I can't. You can look at bearmoose.blogspot.com and you can see what they look like when I actually just paint the face on. And I'm going to make this very simple so you don't have to through all this mess. Okay. So then just fold it. Get yourself a little place to slip your scissors in, your preferably small scissors. Mine are still hiding. But you get the idea. So you just go right ahead and cut all around whatever you drew. Now, of course, they don't have to be pumpkins or ghosts. They could be whatever you want. So you get the idea. Now, I'm sorry you've got to watch me in a glue gun. I'm going to try to make it through this. And as you can see some of the ink marks on my ghost here. But we are just going to run a bead on this one, all the way around, and place our top and bottom together. Because on this one, I'm just going to leave its little face with nothing there. On the others, I put a little patch of black. We'll do that with the next one. But for this one, I'm not going to put anything here. Now I'm going to flip it over and just hot glue one of my magnets. So it will be a lollipop cover, but it will also be a magnet. Yes, I did just blob a whole bunch of glue on that table, if you are wondering. And I'm just going to glue it down. So there's one way you can do it. Now with this one, I'm going to go ahead and cut a small piece of black felt. I'm going to turn it over on the wrong side. Oh, jeez. It's still wet too. All right. I'm just going to turn this over, and I'm not worried about being very perfect in particular. I just want to get this down. And I'm just going to place it right on top of that little face, and then I'll trim it. Let's see, there you go. And now on the back of here, we're not going to see it, it doesn't matter. Just going to cut any excess that we have. And then you would do the same thing with your pumpkin. I'll go ahead and finish cutting that all the way out and come back with my pumpkin done. Okay, now finishing up this ghost, I'm going to turn this one into a pin. So I'm going to take my top off, and this is the inside of my back. And I am going to decide right where I would like my pin to be. And personal preference, of course, doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to make a little mark at the ends of this pin here. Now I'm going to fold this over and just make a cut right there. Okay, now let's open this pin up. I'm going to push it through those little openings we just cut. Okay, now let's just get ourselves a little piece of white felt. And I'm going to glue this little piece of felt down on there to make it more stable. our pin back. What is that that's flying around? There we are. So we have our little pin back in place. You can trim that if you want. Just going to leave it alone. And once again, I am just going to run hot glue all the way around. Okay. And place the top and bottom together. So that's our pin, and you could attach it to a hair barrette. You could put a jump ring here, just feed it through the felt and use a little cheap chain and make it into a little fun Halloween necklace. Okay, and here is my pumpkin. I got it cut out here. And we're just going to do the same thing to this guy. Just going to run some glue. And then just put the black piece on and trim it off. We have all this covered. And we're going to trim this piece so it's not so huge. You don't trim and uncover your face like I was just getting ready to do. Now, for the pumpkins, I cut a piece of this little twig with this tool, and it doesn't have to be a very big piece, just whatever size you want is fine. And then I glued it at the center top of my pumpkin to be a little stem for my pumpkin. Obviously, that is not a requirement. You do not have to do that. And I was going to make it some little wire leaves and tendrils, and I was like, you know what? Don't think you really need it to be that elaborate, but you certainly can if you want to. Now, don't go too far on this because we got to be able to get the lollipops in. So here we go. His little stem is a little wonky, but that's okay. And now just an example of what I have done for my pumpkins. This one has the pin back, and it's just plain. Another plain one. And again. This one, I just did like a zigzag all the way around with the fabric glue, and then attached a magnet. And this one has the silver zigzagged all the way around. For this one, I just cut a strip of felt and just simply tied it into a bow. This one has the white fabric paint. This one I made a little flower for. This one I just attached 2 jump rings, put in a chain and attached a little skull. And this one I cut out a heart and then I put the silver fabric paint around. Okay, so to put the little, sorry, that glue is still there and everywhere. Just to put that little squiggly line around with your fabric paint. I think I said earlier fabric glue. It is not fabric glue by any means. It is fabric paint, and I am running very low. But I just zigzagged around. And to be perfectly honest, I zigzagged around because I knew I would never get a straight line. So if I just start out with a wavy line and make it that way all the way across, I'm in good shape. Let's hope we have enough paint to make it around. Okay, didn't do too well there, but when I'm filming, stuff is just so much further away from me than it normally is, so it's kind of out of my comfort zone, but that's okay. We're going to get this done. It's meant to be fun and cute. So here we are. Our squiggly lines all the way around. And do those on some of them if you want, or don't do them on any of them. That's perfectly fine too. Now, if you want to make the flower, and I'm going to attempt to do this for you, because there's really no rhyme or reason. It's just a strip of fabric that I now have black paint on. Well, this black paint can just go ahead and join my printer ink stain fingernails. They still haven't come clean. So really all I did for that flower was I just made little, I guess you could call them petals. And it was hit and miss. I would cut these petals across and they just wouldn't be right, and I just kept going until I got something that I was satisfied with. I'm just trying to give you the idea of how I did it. And I think I made it like a really long strip and just cut it shorter, trimmed it so it was narrower. I did all kinds of things to come up with this flower. So just go ahead and cut these little petals all the way down. And at that time I knew where my little scissors were, which I no longer know. And we'll see how this one comes out. And I'm not using orange for any particular reason. It's just that I have these three colors, so I went with the orange. I'm going to say that's long enough. And then I just dabbed on a little glue to get me started. And then just rolled it. And that's all it is all the way across. You just roll it. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I think that's good enough. So I'm going to glue this right here and cut off this excess. And then I simply flipped it over. Give it a good dollop of glue and pop it on wherever you want. So that's how I did the flower. Now the lollipops, I have this shape. This is a blow pop. And then one of these little flat lollipops. I got these at the dollar store as well, at the Dollar Tree. And these will accommodate either one. Okay. So I can fold these down the way I did these. So they will accommodate any lollipop. Now, if you have really big lollipops, of course you would make the size covers or costumes that you need for the size lollipops you have. But they just slide in. To our little lollipop costumes. Now this one is different because I glued black felt on the inside of this one on the bottom, so that when the lollipop is in here, you see the lollipop. But when you take the lollipop out, it's black, and it's glued onto the bottom before I glued the two together. Don't think I've put one of these blow pops into these pumpkins yet, but I'm sure we'll get it in there. Yep, we did. So there we go. This is your lollipop costumes. You can make witches' hats would be cute. Make some goblins, Frankenstein, whatever you want to do. Some vampires, however you want to do it. Now I'm going to move on to getting a display made for this, and I'll be right back. Now I got these rather large plastic skulls from the Dollar Tree, and I picked up 3 of them. But unfortunately, the third one, I didn't realize, is not as tall as the other 2. Now I'm going to hot glue these together, and then my intention was to glue a purple plastic Halloween platter you saw earlier on top of it. It would be better, of course, if I had 3 that were the same size, but I don't. So I'm going to go with what I have. And I am just going to glue these 3 together to use them as a pedestal for my tray. So I'm going to do that, and then I will come back with the next thing I'm going to do. Now I picked up this skeleton from the Dollar Tree, but I want to be able to pose it, and you cannot pose this thing. So what I'm going to do is yank the bones apart, and then I'm going to use some wire. Just cut a piece of wire here. And I'm just going to fold it over so that I have a pretty stable joint on my bones. And I am going to have to cut this off. I think I'll flatten this down so it'll fit in there better. Okay. So I'm just going to drop some glue onto my wire, and who knows what else knowing me. And I'm just going to stick it in here and let that harden, dry and harden. And then I'm going to do that to all the joints on this skeleton. Now I have this block of floral foam I also got from the Dollar Tree. And pretty much all the decorations for this display are from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to cut this. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I guess I'll cut it right about there. Ooh, sorry about that. I'll be back when I'm done. Don't hate me. That was terrible, I know. Okay. Now, I don't really want it to be green, and I don't really want to take the time and trouble to paint this. So I'm just going to get a white paper towel and cover this the best I can with this white paper towel. I don't know, I imagine that this stuff is going to actually dissolve when I do this, but let's try it. Oh, well, surprised me. So that's what I'm going to do to both of these. Ooh, sorry about that. There's a random gnat running around here for some reason. Don't know what it wants, but okay, so that's how we're going to alter this item. Now I'm going to do both parts. And then the next thing, I'll come back. I have this little skull on a pedestal. And his little mouth goes up and down. I really like this. Also from the Dollar Tree, of course. And then I picked up this candle holder from the Salvation Army. I think it was 25 cents. I'm going to hot glue the candle holder to the head. And I'm going to use hot glue in this case and not E6000 because I may want to take this apart and use these two items in different ways. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so here is our Lollipop Display. Now I glued the two pieces of foam wrapped in paper towel down on the tray. Then I put spider webbing, which they also had at the Dollar Tree. Then I posed my skeleton the way I wanted him, and I glued down his foot, and I glued down his bottom. This is not glued. He has a rat coming up his foot. That's a glow-in-the-dark rat. And then his hand is glued down over here. And then I just simply pushed all the lollipops into that foam. It went through the spider web, through the paper towel, and through the foam with no problems at all. And this is just a little decoration from the Dollar Tree. This as well. This is a box. And there's our chandelier guy. And underneath, you can see the skulls that it's displayed on. So there we go. Just something cute to put on an entry table, a candy table, kids' party, whatever you want to do with it. Thank you so much for watching.